but something that's actually sold to be consumed and put in your body that clearly has a lethal dose of, if you consume this within 24 hours, you're going to die, and not a single warning on it. And it's advertised everywhere. And the thing is, too, we're all guilty of perpetuating this, because there's not a person in this room, not a woman in this room, who's over 20 that hasn't had sex with someone they should have never had sex with after drinking too much alcohol. Every single person here has got a bad story they don't want anybody to know about sex they should have never had because they were drunk. And every guy in here is guilty of trying to get a woman drunk because they wouldn't have had sex with them if they were sober. Every last one. See, all admit to it. But here's the great thing with marijuana. Marijuana will never have you do anything against your moral code. You'll never steal something. You'll never have sex with them. You'll never do anything using marijuana as an excuse that you wouldn't normally do. But on cocaine or alcohol, people do crazy immoral stuff they wouldn't dream is possible if they thought about it sober. Not everyone, and we all know that too. We've seen people on cocaine do crazy things, and we've seen lots of people on alcohol do really bad things and make really bad judgments and decisions. But that's all, that alcohol is legal, and it's promoted to you on Hockey Night Canada. And how is it even promoted? I made a reference, somewhat jokingly, about how easily we all stoop to some kind of sexual predation or sexual surrender under stupid circumstances by getting really drunk. Right? But look at how they advertise it, even on TV. It's sold to you like the silver bullet, Coors Silver Bullet. That's a classic one, too, because you got the three homely guys over here and the three attractive women over there, and they pull out the silver bullet and bang, it goes and it hits the women, and it looks suspiciously like an explosion of jizz, and then next thing they're right together, they're boogieing down, and you know the rest of the story. They're going to go home and have sex, because that's the whole idea, because that's how guys think. What else the hell do we want in a bar if we're even talking to women? What are we talking to women in a bar for? If we wanted to meet women in a social, we'd be playing bowling or something, right? But we're in a bar for a reason, and people are getting drunk. And it's totally legal. And every night, I watch this around the corner, the Canby Pub, around the corner from me. Every Friday and Saturday night, there's people lying flat out in the gutter. I can't believe it, adults. Just couldn't make it past what they're just lying in the gutter, talking up there. There's vomit all over the place. There's people fighting and squabbling. And it's a terrible scene of depredation, really. This is what's happened. You've spent your whole night getting totally polluted, and now you're making terrible judgments. You're swearing at each other, you're throwing up, you're vomiting, you got fights, you're passed out in the street, and multiply that by 10,000 locations across Canada every Friday night. And that's all legal. That's all legal. And I've never seen the head of Molson's Brewery, or for that matter, J.R. McDonald Tobacco, they both make over $1 million a year as the CEO, never brought to court to account for the 40,000 people that J.R. McDonald Tobacco kills every year in this country. 40,000. And by the way, that tobacco's not even made here anymore. I thought we were making our own cigarettes. Now it's not. It's all from Europe now. In fact, everything that kills you, I'm going to tell you about, doesn't even come from Canada. Doesn't even come from Canada. Most of that alcohol doesn't come from Canada. And it's out there and it's sold legally. Every single joint you're ever going to smoke in this country came from this country. That marijuana was all made here. That money all stays in the country. It's a patriotic act to grow marijuana because nothing else that you get out there that's all lethal and deadly is made in Canada. Canadians actually make stuff that keeps people alive, makes them healthy, happy, live long. Look at Tommy Chong, he's 71, looks awesome. Look at Paul McCartney. Paul McCartney's 66, smokes a big bomber every day. Right? The guy looks 36. People who smoke a lot of weed live long, happy lives. They don't get Alzheimer's. They don't get cancer of the lungs and respiratory system. And more importantly, they don't get myopic. Ethan Russo once speculated that one of the reasons old people seem to get crotchety and hate young people is because when their cannabinoid receptor withers away, not only is it a precursor to Alzheimer's, but it's a precursor to narrowing of your point of view, too. You start getting more and more closed-minded, literally, as time goes by because you're not feeding your cannabinoid receptor in your body. We're going to get to the incredible things cannabis does for your brain, but let's look at some of the things. Tobacco, legal, kills 40,000. Alcohol kills 12,000. Responsible for unprecedented amount of carnage. 27 million Americans and about 1.5 million Canadians are on antidepressants right now, like Zoloft and Effexor and things like that. And that's why nobody protests the wars anymore. Have you noticed we've had a war in Afghanistan and Iraq for like 8 fucking years and nobody gives a goddamn? Doesn't that seem odd to you? We're living in 2009 where we teach our kids that war is wrong, but we have wars go on and nobody pays any attention. I haven't seen a protest against the war in about a year. No, but ever since President Obama has been president, not a single protest. It's like, wow, what happened? I'll tell you what happened. 27 million Americans are on fucking antidepressants. Right? It's taken out the tops and bottoms of their whole thing. No wonder nobody's depressed. There's lots to be depressed about. We've got the worst economic environment we've ever had in our whole lifetime. Oh, don't worry about that. Take a drug, there's nothing to be alarmed about. It's all under control. Oh yeah, I'm sure it is. Oh, 2 wars abroad, 8 years you've been saying? Wow, that's kind of like perpetual war, don't you think? That's longer than World War II. It's almost as long as Vietnam, we know how that turned out. So, I mean, what's different about this? Take an antidepressant, don't worry about it. Right? That's what we got. So we have the worst economic environment of all time in our lifetime. We've got 2 wars abroad. Right? We've got a war on drugs that's unprecedented. We've got, what, 7,000 to 8,000 people in Mexico were killed last year during the war on drugs. You know, and apparently several hundred mayors and police chiefs were executed and assassinated. In Tucson, Arizona this year, 250 people are being kidnapped from drug war extortion. In Tucson, Arizona, that's in the United States. That's supposed to be a civilized place. Right? We've had 17 gang murders in the lower mainland this year alone, thanks to the Red Scorpions and UN gang. And the government we've got now wants to bring in even more laws to guarantee more people in jail. Antidepressants. They kill people. Over about 2,000 people in the general public in Canada die from antidepressants and other prescription drugs every year, and tens of thousands in the United States. In fact, there's a new movie called Generation RX that shows that most of the people who die in hospitals die from drug overdoses or the wrong drug at all given to them by doctors. Doctors are guessing all the time about what drugs should be good for bad for you. And they're killing people all the time. And you know what? Doctors are never brought before a court to account for the people they may have killed in hospitals or in the regular world, just giving out prescriptions. And don't even stop there. Like, I mean, aspirin is going to kill people. 1,000 people in North America die of gas. But why stop there? Peanuts kill 125 people every year in North America. It's not a lot, but it's way more than wheat, and peanut farmers aren't being rounded up. And sesame seeds kill 40 people every year in North America, and I don't see any sesame seed farmers. And hey, why stop there? You know, it used to be that tobacco was the leading cause of death in Canada, but it's not anymore. It's number 2. And number 1 is also something that doesn't come with any warning. It's a big bag of sugar. Obesity is killing people more than even tobacco is now, and you can buy a big bag of unrefined sugar for like $5, and it doesn't have a single warning that it's the leading cause of death in Canada. Not one. You can buy fructose, sucrose drinks from the time you're 6 months old at your school or your park or in your playground or anywhere. There's these big Coke machines, commercially. All of them got fructose, sucrose in them. And you know what? We haven't evolved where we can handle that. We're actually putting tons of toxic sludge through a little organ in our pancreas that's 5 inches by ½ an inch long. Right? And we're trying to shove tons, literally tons over our lifetime of toxic sludge through that little tiny pancreas. And that's why we've got an epidemic of diabetes in this country. Because up till 5 or 6 generations ago, up till 1830, we never had processed sugar in our diet. We evolved 40, 50,000 years without processed sugar, and then processed because we got all our sugars from fruits or juices or even like boiled up gourds like potatoes. Starches from that. That's how all people got their sugars. There was no cane sugar. You know, that was discovered in Jamaica, and the modern refining presses made modern sugar, refined sugar, that we see everywhere. Cheap, affordable, and now very, very dangerous. Well, the leading cause of death is our relationship with refined sugar. Because our bodies aren't used to that much sugar. We're just not used to having everything we drink have 25 to 50% fructose, sucrose, sludge getting processed through that little organ. But there's not even a single warning on sugar, and kids get it from their parents like candy when they're young. Right? And then why stop there? Salt is one of the leading, not a single warning on a box of salt, but it's the leading cause of hypertension, high blood pressure, which leads to heart attack. And heart attack is the 4th leading cause of death in this country. And it's due to there's salt in everything. You take a can of soup, it says 40 to 50% of your daily amount of salt right in that one can of soup. Canadians take in more salt than any other culture on earth for some reason. When you order processed food from McDonald's or a pizza, it is loaded with salt. It's loaded with sugar, and it's loaded with the other addictive characteristic that we like that's really, really bad for us. It's loaded with fat. You know, you develop you have endorphins that respond well to sugar and fats and salts, and they're all really, really bad for you, and there's never a warning on anything you buy from McDonald's that it contains the 3 deadliest ingredients known to modern man. Sugar, number 1 leading cause of death. Salt, number 4 leading cause of death. And fat, obesity, sugar combined, all those things is right in there too. Yet not a single warning on anything from McDonald's. It's all perfectly legal, but he makes lots of money. You know, and so on it goes. Fast cars, you can buy a car that goes up to 260 kilometers an hour. On the roads that cannot allow you to go more than 110 kilometers an hour. You're actually sell you cars by driving through the Utah desert, Monument Flats, at 150 to 200 miles an hour, blowing dust behind, Robert Daltrey screaming from "Won't get fooled again," and they sell cars in a manner that suggests that the way to enjoy it is to illegally speed really fast, and they sell them that way. And it's totally legal. They're never asked to go out. It says in small letters, "This is a stunt track. Do not try this on a highway of your choice." Right, but basically they're still selling it to it. And so when it goes guns are legal, I've never seen anybody who manufactured a gun called to account for the deaths they caused by guns. And even in Walkerton, Ontario, the guy killed people at the water factory, so government-approved water, killed 12 people 4 years ago in Walkerton, Ontario, and that guy got house arrest. He killed 12 people. Fell asleep right at literally the switch and let a whole bunch of cryptosporidium get into the water supply. Didn't tell anybody once he knew it was in there, so he's criminally liable. 12 people die and he gets house arrest, right? Now remember that when you hear I've gotten 5 years in a federal penitentiary for giving